All right, welcome everybody. Let me just sort out this side of it over here so I can see what's going on. I need to adjust a few things. All right, looks like we're good to go. So welcome everybody. We've got Joe and John. Lefty Mike, how you doing? Scotty, Fabian, and what's up Doc? Welcome. Let me know where you guys are from too if I haven't spoken to you before. If you have any questions, let us know. Jamal, welcome man. How you doing? Please let me know how the audio sounds, if it's distorting or doing anything weird. It should be okay. I did a quick test finally beforehand, so we're trying a different mic. I have a feeling this should hopefully sound all right. Thanks, Lefty Mike. Appreciate that, mate. We got Corey from New Brunswick, Canada. Very cool. Excuse me. All right. So, we've got a few guys here already. This is awesome. So we're going to go for probably about an hour today. So if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to let us know. We might plug in some guitars as well if we need to along the way, and we'll see how we go with that. My setup's a little bit different in here today. I've got the rest of my stuff set up for filming later, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't mess with that and then have to reset it up. So I'm sort of squished to the side of the room, but we should be good. So how's the weather down here? It's actually raining. This summer's been the worst ever, and I think it's something to do with the bushfires because we lost so many days that could have been hot just with cloudy, smoky days. You know, it was really weird stuff. Amanda, welcome. Awesome. The chat audio sounds good. Thanks. Appreciate that. All right. We've got ones and zeros from Pennsylvania. Audio is a little low. All right, let us know if anyone else feels the same way. If it is, I'll crank it up a little bit more. 1, 2, 2. Yep. All right, it's clipping now, so somewhere still clipping. Somewhere around there might be about it. That's about as loud as I can get it. I can see the audio levels, and it's close to peaking. So, there we go. Manuel from Peru, awesome stuff. Do you get burnt out having to feed the YouTube monster? Not really. Like, in December and November, I've been going hard every year for a long time, and that can be pretty tough. You know, I try to do like 25 to 30 videos a month. But you know what? You might have seen on my channel, I've been like uploading 2 or 3 times a week and trying to put a bit more thought into those videos, and they've performed way better. So I think 2 videos a week has been unreal. It's actually outperformed. It's been my busiest month by only uploading 2 videos a week. So there's something to be said for that as well. I think a lot of the people that do YouTube think they have to keep pumping stuff out, and I thought that way as well, but it really doesn't work like that. I think you look at some of the most successful channels and they only do a video a week, maybe 2. So I've sort of reapproached that lately, and I feel like I'm trying to put together a good mix of stuff. And there'll be more of a good mix of stuff towards the second half of the year. I'm going to do a video about that coming up pretty soon. I've locked in an awesome couple of months that I can't wait to share with you guys. So, yeah, I think it all comes down to quality. Like, it really isn't quantity. Quantity doesn't make your channel succeed. And like I said, the last sort of, I guess, month and a half, I've been doing 2 videos a week, and it's outperformed. It's my biggest month ever, 1.4 million views. I can't believe how many views that is. That's huge. So, yeah, crazy stuff. Bigfoot NZ says, hey, mate, when learning, use neck or bridge. You know, there's no rule. Use whatever you like. Neck pickup will give you the warmer, sort of silkier sort of sound, whereas the bridge will give you the attitude. And I think don't ever get stuck on one pickup. You know, I avoided bridge pickup for years when I first started playing. I never liked how bright it sounded. Then I realized why the bridge pickup is unreal. It's almost like a volume boost when you solo. I see so many people get stuck on neck pickup, and I'm just like, come on, take your solo to the next place. Click it down to bridge pickup. But yeah, don't box yourself into one pickup or the other. You know, you might prefer one for like rhythm parts, or full lead parts as well, but the bridge pickup will give you a whole lot more oomph. I love it. Hey, Ben Coombs, welcome, man. We got Fishy Paw as well, welcome. Got Gibson Harley fan, Gibson Harley fan from, like Harley the bike. I'm thinking Harley Benson from Louisiana. I'm going to be over there pretty soon. So can't wait to share the news. I'm putting together a little video about this trip. We got Russell Lucas says, hey Shane, loving the channel. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. We've got a whole lot of new subscribers as well. So welcome everybody. Appreciate everyone jumping on board. I try to get back to as many questions as I can on every video that goes up. But after the first few days, I can't keep on top of it. Some of them go kind of crazy with the comments in terms of quantity. So yeah, if I miss your question and you've asked something on a video, feel free to ask it now if you're watching. Quality is where it's at. Your podcast rocks. Thanks, man. Yeah, I really tried to sort of up the ante with not only the production of that, but just the format of it, keeping it kind of like a conversation. You know, I tried a couple where I was doing more of an interview thing, and that's definitely not my strength. I don't really do that very well. So I think my plan with that is just to have friends over that I'm good with, like good conversation skills with, and then we can basically just chat about whatever. You know, Rick and I chat on the phone all the time about what kind of gear one of us wants, or you know, going down to a shop and talking crap about music stuff. So yeah, we're trying to bring that to the podcast. That's the plan anyway. Thanks, Amanda. I appreciate that. I mean, look, YouTube's a weird thing. You know, I always try to reinvent what I do every few years. I kind of phase a few things out. I try new series of videos. Some of them work and some of them are complete flops. But I think if you're doing this a lot, you've got to keep it interesting, not only for yourself, but for other people. And that's why I'm going to announce what I'm doing in the second half of this year coming up pretty soon. You'll be in for a bit of a treat, hopefully. So, yeah. Do I play your Blues Junior anymore? I don't. I don't actually have a Blues Junior. I had the gold one back in the day. After using it live a few times, it wasn't for me. You know, I felt like I was always pushing it to the maximum. So I think back then I had a deluxe reverb is what I got, and that was a much bigger sound. And yeah, I've been through a lot of amps over the years. I still like Blues Juniors, and I think the most current one, the Blues Junior 4, is by far the best. Better speaker upgrade, bigger sound. The reverb tank is finally fixed. A lot of the Blues Juniors 3 versions had the problem with oscillation on the reverb tank. So yeah, I really feel like the best they've ever been right now, at least in terms of sound. The A-type speaker from Celestion, they're an absolute beast. Old Metal Dude says, hey Shane, haven't caught a live stream of yours in a very long time. Only here for a few minutes. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know what? I haven't done one for a while. It's been over a month, I think, since the last one. Or around a month since I did one. I kind of lose track of, you know, my internet here's not great. And the picture quality isn't what it used to be when I had my old place. But the good news is in the next 2 months or 3 months, I'll have much more reliable hardwired internet in here, which will be, I think, about 4 or 5 times faster. So I'll be back to, you know, my good camera. Well, the audio should hopefully be okay. But yeah, I'll have a much more competent live streaming rig. And then we'll see whether or not we can do more or even stream a podcast live or something like that. What's the best way to find guys to form a blues band? Usually there's, I would say go to some blues jams in your area. So go to places where people are already playing. You know, blues jammers aren't usually gigging musicians, or sometimes they are, like I am, but I haven't been gigging that much lately. But a lot of the guys that go to them are sort of in that intermediate phase where they might want to start a band, but they're looking for the right people and the right personalities. So that would be one suggestion for me, from me, is to go to local blues jams and see if you can find some players. You know, I've met so many guys that I've played with for 10 years from jams. So, yeah. Our first time I met Dr. Rick was at a blues jam. First time I met Brian, my other friend, it was at a blues jam. I've had guys that I've known now for 20 years from the first jam I ever went to. So, yeah, that would be my suggestion. They're usually pretty like-minded guys. You meet some weirdos and some sort of people you don't want to associate with as well, like anywhere in the world. But yeah, the cool thing about the blues jams is people are there to play, and generally you can usually find people you want to work with. So that'd be my suggestion. What about the headless of the Steinberger? So back here I've got that's actually a leaf guitar. I did a video of that which didn't get many views, but This thing rocks. So this is a travel electric guitar with some of the best humbuckers I've ever heard. It's small. A lot of people think this is like not that much smaller than a regular guitar, but it is. The body's tiny. I think the actual neck profile is the same. So it feels kind of like a Strat, but the body's tiny. And yeah, it's a bit of a strange beast, this thing, but it sounds really cool. It's called the Leaf ALP Guitars Leaf 200. Let me scroll down. Malediction 99 says, "Hey Shane, love your channel. Question for an extension cab. Do you recommend a Celestion V-type speaker or something else? I noticed you like that one in the DSL 40C." So, yeah, it's a bit of a loaded question. So I have a website now dedicated to this stuff. It's called guitarspeakerguide.com. I've been working on it for months. There's a post on there like explaining the process about why you want to change your speaker, right? So I need more information. For me to say, oh, hey, buy this speaker and only that one, it doesn't make sense because you might be looking for something else. You might be looking for more treble, more volume, a fatter sound. I don't know. I don't know what you don't like about the stock one. So in my amp back here, I've actually got a Texas Heat from Eminence, which takes away a little bit of that Marshall sound and makes it sound a little bit more Fendery because it rolls out the top end a little bit. And as a live sound, that works really well. But if you hear it in the room, it doesn't sound as bright as the Celestion V-Type. I think the V-Type speakers are really good. But yeah, I need more information. So there's a huge article about how to choose a speaker properly at guitarspeakerguide.com. It's a loaded question. So if you let me know exactly what it is that you're looking for, that would be a huge help. All right, this is from Fishy Paw. Did I sell all the guitars I was going to sell? No regrets. So I sold one more last night. I sold another Harley Benson, so I've sold 5. There's 2 that I'm now on the fence on, which was something that I didn't expect to happen. So let's start the other way first. So one of the ones I need to sell still is the Dan Electro, that Sparkle guitar. I have a feeling I'm not going to be playing that a whole lot. And I still haven't sold the Strat Dan Electro, but neither of those are actually listed right now. I'm only doing them in like 2 at a time kind of thing. The one I'm sort of struggling with is the Tokais, both of them, I guess, but more so the Les Paul. I have a feeling I'll probably keep that guitar now, whereas the 335, I'm going to try getting one more. I'm going to try it one more time. I've tried getting my sound out of that guitar a million times, and I just can't do it. I have a feeling I'm not approaching it the right way, so I'm actually get a friend of mine over who's got a great 335 tone and just say, help me get a great sound out of this. And the funny thing is I used to play 335s for years and I used to love the tone I got and how they responded and all that kind of stuff. And I've never been able to sort of recreate that sound. So that's still probably going to go. But I think the Love Rock, the Japanese Les Paul style one, I'm probably going to keep that. Hey, we got Landon here. Welcome, man. But yeah, I've sold quite a number of them already. It's been good. I actually met up with a guy just down the road yesterday and handed off one to him. So yeah, it's been good. Love the conversations with Rick. Thanks, man. Fender Custom 69 pickups for a John Mayer tone. Well, it depends what kind of tone you're going for. If you want his good tone from back in the day, just take the mids out of the amp a little bit and turn up the bass and turn the treble down. Save yourself some money. The pickups aren't going to make you sound like John Mayer. You want to basically learn how to play like that. If you can already do that, you shouldn't need different pickups. He'll sound like that irrespective of whatever guitar he's playing. I mean, he's gone from PRS. No, he's over to PRS now from playing Strats or from playing Fender. It's really not going to make any difference. So a lot of people think the gear is what's giving him the sound. It's actually these guys, the hands. So, yeah. Plus, do you really want to emulate that to the nth degree? Like, you got to people are going to hear it and go, oh, he's a John Mayer wannabe. So, yeah, you don't want that. Just don't sing like this. I used to love John Mayer, man, but I can't listen to him. His vocals kill me now. Yeah, great guitar player. I was listening and I was learning Covered in Rain, you know, the chord progression. It's in drop D, which is something I don't normally learn, but I've been learning some songs lately, and that was one that I love. And, you know, I don't mind his vocal there, but he went from singing with a lot of attitude in his sort of that blues stuff and even Continuum to, you know, going back to that pop voice. I don't know. I just can't get into it. What speaker did I put in my Blues Deluxe? Sorry, one of the other questions made me laugh there. I'll go get back up there. What question did I put in my Blues Deluxe? I got the Swamp Thing, the Eminent Swamp Thing. I love those things. It is not coming out of there unless it dies. Another one I'd highly recommend is the Red, White, and Blues. That's a really great speaker for that amp as well. Again, I've done a full article on best speakers for those amps. GuitarSpeakerGuide.com. I almost got a blues duty today, but decided to go with the Super Champ X on a Sweetwater special. Cool. Good stuff. This was what made me laugh. David Melbourne said, is the announcement that we get free ice cream each live stream? Yes. No. Actually, I might crack open my bottle of Coke Zero in a sec here. We've got a padded pedal room. Welcome, man. What do I think makes the biggest difference sound-wise? Tubes or a speaker? Speaker is 90% of that sound. I'd be surprised if the valves make 10% difference. After changing them in amps over the years, like especially EL84 amps, it makes next to no difference. Now, if you're going to be changing a 12 AX7 to an AT7, you might hear a difference, right? The preamp might be slightly less gainy. You might get a cleaner sound. But if you're just changing, say, a set of JJs with another brand, it's not going to make that big of a difference. You're going to hear some, maybe slight bias difference and all that kind of stuff. It depends on the amp too, but you're really not going to notice that much of a change in the sound. The speaker makes a massive difference. It's almost like changing amps. So, yeah, that's where the sound is coming from. Not the valves. The valves help the sound, but they're not, you know, the projection of the audio is the speaker. I would say you probably can get to like a 7% sound change by changing valves. Unless, of course, they're faulty, right? If you're talking about faulty valves or tubes, completely different conversation. But if you're just changing valves for the sake of it, hoping to get a different sound, you're going to be pretty dissatisfied. I never change valves in amps unless they're faulty. I think it's the biggest waste of money. And there's a lot of people who claim it makes a difference because they've spent money on actually having that happen, but, you know, making the change, and it's just really not worth it. What amps am I using these days? So probably the main amp right now is the Fender Towmaster Twin. In terms of my live rig, it's just so light. And after my knee surgery, and it's finally getting better, months after, that was the go-to because it's light and loud. I was also using the Artist Tweed Tone a lot as well. Another great little combo. My favorite at the moment is still the Marshall. It's an absolute beast. I think it's, you know, every time I use that, people go, man, that amp sounds huge. Like it really fills the room. You know, a lot of the Tonemaster Twin is got a big sound, but the Marshall's just got that punch. It's an absolute monster. I got my own, the Marshall DSL 20 CR. Is it generally a good amp for mid-size stage performance? Yeah, 20 watts is about right. You know, the difference between the 20 and the 40 is you can switch the 20 down to 10 watts. The 40 goes down to 20 watts. So, you know, keep that in mind if that's something that bothers you or not. If you want a little bit more headroom, you've got that 40 watt option on the louder amp. And you also get an extra 2 channels with the 40. You get 2 of those crunch channels. So you can switch between clean and crunch on one and crunch and ultra gain on the second. Whereas you can only go between classic crunch, which is the clean, on the 20, and then the ultra gain. So you're missing that sort of either clean or second or third crunch channel. So yeah, but they're loud enough. Like they're pretty loud. They're easily as loud as a Blues Junior. I think if I was using one of those live, I'd use the cleaner channel and feed it pedals, because the ultra gain channel might not be for everybody. And I'd probably change the speaker in there too. But that's just me. Oh. Put a Swamp Thing in my Fender Deluxe reissue. It's staying put. Awesome stuff. That's from Strat O My Caster. These names are funny. All right, so Fishy Paul asks a question about speaker break-in. I tell you what, guys, if you've got any of these speaker questions, go to the website I mentioned before, guitarspeakerguide.com. I'll punch it in. I got all this stuff covered. I see these questions come up a lot, and after years and years of doing reviews on speakers, I thought, yeah, it's time to put a website together just full of all of these kind of questions. Speaker break-in isn't always a real thing, right? You'll either like the speaker when you get it or you won't. On some Celestion speakers, just to break it down, you can probably hear some subtle differences over time, but there's tests out there that prove that it's all in your head. So, yeah, there's a lot of internet, these sort of forums and internet rumor sites where people are claiming one thing or the other. There's no real tests about it. So, look, some speakers will soften up a little bit in the treble frequencies, but they won't change that drastically. Not every speaker, but most of them won't. I always feel like anytime I've gotten a new Eminence speaker, if I don't like it immediately, no amount of like wearing it in or whatever is going to change that. Now, back in the hi-fi days, that was a thing. They'd tell you, you know, run these speakers in at moderate volumes for 8 hours or whatever. But yeah, it's not really the case with the guitar speakers. Even Celestion do have some information on it on their website, but I don't know if it's just there to keep people happy or not. So, yeah. How loud do I usually play a Marshall at home? It just depends on the time of day, really. Like, yeah, usually 20 watts. Like on the videos I've been doing lately, I've been running it at 20 watts, mic'd up. And that's what you've been listening to. So I usually try to have the masters all the way up on the master volume. So both of those all the way forward. And then I have the channel volume up at about 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. But that's on 20 watt mode. I couldn't really get away with that on 40 watts. It would be brutal. Just ordered my valves for the DSL Marshall. One broke. Can't wait for them to arrive. Cool. All right, so yeah, in regards to the conversation before about the valves, right, there's times where, like, Fender will put in crap valves in certain amps, and there's times where other brands will put really crap valves in certain types of amps as well. And these are usually the Asian-made amplifiers. Time after time, I've owned them and had to replace them straight away because they rattle and they do weird things they shouldn't be doing. So that's a time to change valves, and you might notice a difference too. I've owned the Fender Excelsior. I had to replace those valves. The PV Delta Blues, I had to replace the valves on one of those. They were faulty. That was a US-made amp. But, yeah, you'll see stuff like some of the bass breaker amps that are a bit, you know, they're usually, at least in Australia, loaded with really crappy valves. Mark, I've answered that already. I'm not using the Fender Mustang, but I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's awesome. How do I feel about using the Tone Master live now? I love it. I think it's one of the most practical amps ever. And I've got a lot of comments on just how big it sounds in the room. It does feel a little bit different to play, but I don't really think too much about it once I'm playing. I think it just responds a little bit differently to certain types of pedals. Like any modeling amp, you can slam a pedal into the front end and it's either going to sound okay or it won't. So there's some that don't sound that great, but overall, I love it. I've had nobody complain about the tone other than, man, it's loud, turn it down. Have I ever considered the Celestion speakers? Have I ever considered the Celestion speakers in the new Harley Benton amps? You know what? I don't know anything about those amps, so I'm a bit out of the loop there. I haven't really been watching a whole lot of like gear videos lately, so I don't know anything about those amps. Sorry, man. I should get another YouTube summit together. The idea with that was like, I organized everybody to come onto my channel, and then like Tone King, I think, was supposed to do the next one, and he never did. So yeah, and plus, I think the problem with that now is getting multiple, like Google or YouTube discontinued this thing that made it really easy called Hangouts. It was, you click a link and it loads in a browser and you're good to go. Since that's not a thing, people are using all these third-party apps, and I hate seeing like just two people's photos on, or two people's cameras on screen, or imagine four, and it's all like sort of cramped together. I want to have it automatically switch. I think that would be a really cool thing. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame that YouTube discontinued that. It was a really simple functional solution that they got rid of. I think it may have had some security issues or something in terms of, you know, there was a lot of them that were hacked over the years. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. I think if we're going to do it again now, it's going to be a bit of a logistical nightmare because everyone will have to know how to get it going. So yeah, that's pretty much the main reason why that stopped. We got Cliff Gold from the sunny coast. Welcome, mate. I have a really bright Carvin V3 amp. Which speaker rolls off the most top end? Get a Texas Heat from Eminence. Yeah, that would be my first choice. That's what I felt the same way about my Marshall. I was like, it's too bright for my sound. How do I tame that? Put a Texas Heat in there. I was like, perfect. Took a look at the website. I like bright sound, so I think the V-type might be for me. Awesome. Yeah, well, that'll definitely do it. Shane, in your development as a guitar player, at what point do you stop thinking about the process of playing and just flow instead? You know, I think the more you play, the easier it is just to get creative in the moment. I find when I'm playing a lot, it's easy. Like I got my stock licks, and then I'm going to other places. I find if I'm not playing enough, you never really get there. I see this week in and week out at the jams. You know, guys will play and they'll play the same solo over the same type of song every single week. Exactly the same ideas. I put that in quotations. They're not really ideas. You never really see them get out of those habits. And I'm guilty of that sometimes too, like playing stuff that I just know. But then when you're actually feeling it and things are working around you, it's a lot easier to get inspired and take chances and to go places. So the more you play, the easier it is to not only keep consistent in your playing, like live playing, but also to take it somewhere else. And that's dependent on who you're playing with more than it is anything else as well. Well, yeah, I don't know why Google removed the Hangouts. It sucks. Any thoughts on the Beekeeper with the Tone Master Twin? You know, I haven't tried that yet. I wanted to do a follow-up video with it plugged into the Boss Next Tone and that amp, but I still haven't done it yet. I need to get around to doing that. It's a good pedal though, it really is. And I think you can, one of the cool things about it, you can use it through the effects loop, or you can just plug it straight into the front end. So I'll need to try both. Do I like the reverb on the Blues Junior 4? It seems like I have to go 9 or 10 to match the Blues Junior 3 on 4 or 5. I think they may have tamed it. I mentioned earlier that I think the Blues Junior 4 amps are probably the best they've been. If something's not right with, I mean, that sounds pretty excessive having it up to 9 or 10, but one of the problems with the version 3s was you get it past about 11 o'clock and it would start clanging. Like, that's what I found with mine. I took it back the day I got it. I was like, oh, the reverb's faulty, I'll take it back. It was making all of these kind of sounds that it shouldn't be making. And then I swapped it and got another one. I did exactly the same thing, and I took it back and I played another one that they had on the floor and it did it back. So I ended up getting my money back. But yeah, it was like this weird oscillation. So they probably tamed it so they don't get this weird clanging that shouldn't be there. And not just the reverb sound either. Like it had obscure metallic noises coming out of it. Now don't laugh at the size of this Coke. It was the only one I could get. It's 1.25 liters. Any chance of you comparing the Fender American Original Tele versus the Fender Vintera 50s Tele? You know what? That would be really cool. Yeah, I like the suggestion, so I'll see what I can do. I know they won't make lefties in those. At least I don't think so. But I'll see if I can get my hands on one, and maybe Rick can help us with a video next time he's around. Mark says, Texas heat. Everything in Texas is big. Perfect name for the speaker. Absolutely. Thinking about the Tex-Mex pickups for my Squier Bullet Strat. Also considering some Dragonfires. How much will pickups matter? I've read about 25% of the tone. I would say more than that. I think the pickups make a huge difference. Look, I've learned the hard way over the years with one Strat. I bought it because at the time, well, I actually inherited a couple of grand. This was years ago, and I thought, all right, I'll put this into something I'm going to keep for years. And I bought the best left-handed Strat I could find at that time. I could only find one. And I was never really that satisfied with the sound of it to begin with. It didn't have a lot of, some guitars you pick up and they've got a lot of ring to them, and there's a lot of sustain. You can play them acoustically like a Strat, and it will sound bright and chimey and all that kind of stuff. This one never really sounded like that, and it didn't have a whole lot of sustain either. And I changed pickups in that guitar like 5 times. Every time it sounded different, but every time I just wasn't happy with the sound. So, I guess what I'm getting at is you can change the pickups and it will impact the sound of the guitar. Like, especially in the Strat, it's one of the things that you'll notice, pickups are vastly different, but going between similar type of pickups, like single coil this with the similar output to another brand with the same, like say, if you're swapping between like what's Fat 50s and Tex-Mex pickups, there might not be that much of a difference between changing from Tex-Mex pickups to, Affinity series pickups from Squier. You'll notice a bigger difference there, or putting something like Zex coil in, for example, or something that's completely different like Lace Sensor. So different types of pickups will sound vastly different to each other, but will it impact the sound? I would say way more than 25%. I think the pickups make the majority of the sound on the guitar, especially in a Stratocaster, because they're basically floating in a plastic pickup guard or in a pick guard. So, yeah, I would say that will impact it more than anything. But I have found over the years, like that one guitar I could never get a great sound out of. It didn't matter what I did to it. I just wasn't happy with it. I picked up that white Strat that I recently sold. But yeah, that just instantly sounded better. So yeah, I think you'll be able to get a better sound by swapping the pickups. I actually think those Tex-Mex ones are some of the most underrated Strat pickups. So, I'd be keen to try those for myself as well. I think they're really good. Have I given the Boss OD200 a shot? Boss OD200. I don't think so, no. At least I don't think so. Oh, I'm going to look it up now. I'm curious. Let's have a look. Boss OD200. No, I definitely haven't tried that. It looks kind of cool. Looks like an old calculator. Do you have any experience or advice for hum/buzz? Yeah, look, I've been dealing with that over the years at different places I played at. I think you've just got to take the right guitar for the gig. I used to have a P90 Les Paul that I liked, but I couldn't use it at one of the gigs we were doing like every other week for years. I was like, I can't play it. So I never took single coil pickups to that gig ever. And every time I did, all I had was buzz. So it can be a whole lot of factors influencing buzz, from the room, what's going on outside of it, to, have you got computers running, all that kind of thing too. So if you're just playing at home, try a different room in the house, try facing a different way. If you're playing a Strat or a P90 pickup guitar, sometimes the way you're pointing the guitar can change how much the guitar's going to buzz. But yeah, I really feel if you're getting a lot of it, all of the time everywhere. You might have an earthing problem in the guitar, which is just like there's a piece of metal that usually attaches to the bridge somewhere, or at least on a Telecaster, it sort of touches the ashtray. There's a wire that goes through there. If that's not, same with other guitars too, but if that's not earthing, you're going to have problems. Have I had the chance to check out a Line 6 HX Stomp? Look, I've seen them. I've never actually tried one. I've watched some videos on them and they look all right. For me personally though, I would recommend unless you really want an all-in-one sort of thing like that, I would just find the effects that you're looking for in an analog form or something that's easily editable on the fly, especially if you're a live player. Don't go for an all-in-one, yeah, I just think there's too much going on there that you won't ever use. And if you're in the heat of the moment, you want to change something, it can be a bit of a nightmare. So there's only really one all-in-one digital pedal I recommend, and that's the NUX Cerebus, which looks like a normal pedal. It's very analog in its appearance. It has some digital effects on it, but there's no menus. It's all tangible. I think tangible effects is where it's at. And yeah, I think that Cerebus pedal is about the only one I would take out and play live. I've tried a lot of them. I think they're great in the home studio sort of situation. So if that's what you're doing and you just want to jam at home, all of those options are fine. The Moore stuff, the Line 6 stuff, the Head Rush. But I've seen a great guitar player friend of mine. He's an absolute gun. One of the best players I know. He took a Head Rush out and it was a nightmare for him. He's never used it since. And you're at the mercy of the PA systems. You're at the mercy of all kinds of stuff. And sometimes trying to figure out what went wrong is a whole lot harder on something like that. So I'm not big into those things. And I used to think I liked all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's no way none of that is appealing to me anymore. For just me personally. But like I said, if you're playing live, I would avoid it. If you're playing at home and you want nice delays and reverbs and all that, then go for it, because that's really where those things shine. We got TJ UKKV from Tampa. Welcome, man. I'll be there in a couple of months. Hey Shane, stoked I caught this. Always enjoy your playing. Love to hear you talk about how you developed your bluesy vibrato. Listen to Clapton. Go through, all the videos you can find from like the 90s. His playing was the best. All of that vibrato was, I used to listen to Clapton, Robert Cray, Albert King, Stevie, a lot of guys like that, but Clapton was the vibrato master. In my opinion, his playing's obviously changed over the years now, but back in the day, man, his vibrato it's still great now, but his playing dexterity's changed as he's gotten older, but his vibrato was the best. So listen to 24 Nights. It's a really great live double DVD or video or whatever. If you can find the stuff like Have You Ever Loved a Woman off that album, that's the vibrato is in there. That's pretty much what I tried to copy. Any plans on doing a version of Mustang Monday type videos with a Head Rush pedalboard? No, I won't be buying a Head Rush. Not a chance. I think they're cool, but yeah, it's not for me. It's a lot of money too. I think they're like probably 2,500 Australian dollars or something. Beware of neon on the same circuit. Old school iron core transformers can be a single coil headache. Oh, there we go. Thanks for the tip there, Cliff. Cheers, man. Oh, did I miss a question up here from Jamal? Anyone here in the chat played with lay sensor pickups? I've tried them before in one of my Strats. They're a different sort of sound. They're pretty cool. They got a little bit maybe less sort of the bell tone, a bit like the Fender noiseless pickups in some ways. It changes the frequency slightly, but they're probably a better pickup than that. So yeah, I don't really have any really bad things to say about lace sensors other than the fact I didn't get to use them live. I only got to play with a neck pickup here at home. So I know guys that like swear by those pickups. So they're They're pretty cool. They're basically a noiseless pickup, completely different tech as well. They're not wound like your regular single coils, so they're pretty cool. Jeff asks, what year is your Fender 52 reissue Telecaster? I got it in 2010, so I think it's the year prior to that. Just found a great way to make shielding paint by graphite powder. Mix it with hide glue and water, and it makes it a really good insulating paint. Okay, cool. And some smart guys with this kind of stuff. That, you know, none of that kind of thing is even remotely my bag. So great tips. Copper tape is not great. So I actually bought a roll of that. When I took out the amp head in one of my amps, I damaged the shielding, and you can buy rolls of that particular sort of shielding tape. Is that what it's called? Shielding tape? It's like it looks like a big roll of sticky tape, but it's that metal stuff. And yeah, you can buy that and just, you know, you could even try shielding guitars with it. Some people say that doesn't make that big of a difference in some guitars, but I don't know. I haven't done any real tests for myself, but yeah. JJ's who Clapton copied. Oh, JJ's probably like one of my top 5 artists ever. You know, I did a tribute album for JJ. I love his stuff. I think they're very different guitar players. I don't hear a whole lot of similarities in their approach in lead guitar at all. You know, JJ is much more out of the box. Some of his stuff sounds simple, but it isn't. He's a much different guitar player to Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton's more of your straight ahead blues guy. JJ is playing flat fifths everywhere and stuff. He's a completely different guitarist. I don't think I hear a lot of Eric's vibrato from JJ. I hear it more from guys like, he's like a refined Freddie King. That's how I hear Eric's blues playing. Eric, his biggest influences were Freddie King, and if you don't know that, I would highly suggest go and look at Freddie King's. You know, I'm not the biggest Freddie King fan. I love his vocal. I think he's probably the best blues singer ever. But I always like Clapton's sort of refinement on that in his guitar playing. And some people will disagree, but it's all personal choice. But yeah, I hear more of sort of Freddie King in Eric's playing than I do in JJ. Even though, you know, Clapton did a million different JJ songs. Yeah, it's just not even. Yeah, I hear different things. Fender original or Fender Broadcaster 70th anniversary? 70th anniversary, far out. I had a 50th anniversary Strat. Look, man, these kind of questions are all personal. You know, it's all personal choice. That's from Ian. You know, you don't really want to rely too much on what other people think you should buy. Get the thing that really speaks to you and play them both and go, okay, I like this one more. Because just because I like something, you know, I like guitars with relatively wide necks, might not be what you like either. So I would try them all and see which one you really like. There's no better one, or at least better way to choose a guitar than play them yourself. Padded Pedal Room says, I have lace sensors in my 96 Strat Plus. They are great. I used that on the guitar in some of my videos. Cool stuff. All right, man. A lot of shielding tips here. We'll rename this stream to Shielding Tips 101. How do I maintain my posture? I work out. I was funny, you know, like I was putting together a video just, I don't know, a couple days ago, and I saw a video from maybe 3 years ago, and I was more like this, and my shoulders were small, and my arms were probably about half the size they are now. Not to say I'm big, by the way, because I'm not that big, but yeah, over the last 3 years, I've pretty much transformed my body and shoulders. And I think one of the exercises I do a lot of back like pull downs this way. But another one I've started doing is where you get your arms. It's like a reverse pec deck. You know, you do the pec deck this way. It's like you put these. Oh, it's a machine you get in and you pull back this way, and it works sort of your back, your delts, and yeah, a bit of everything. And those, I feel like, have helped my posture big time. I mean, I'm not trying to sit up straight. It's just the way that I think I'm starting to get less of that computer posture thing going on, which is really cool. So, yeah, I would say exercise, man. A lot of musos don't do anything. I don't know why. Just balance it out. It's not going to affect your guitar playing once you get used to it. So. Squire Telly from China or Indonesia. You know, I haven't actually played the Indonesian-made ones, but I have a hard time believing any of them are going to be bad. I think they're both really cool. Where is your volume pedal located in your chain? So I have it before my overdrives. So tuner, then I have my vibratone pedal, and then I have a clean boost, and then I have my overdrive. You can do it the other way. If you want your overdrive tone just to get way louder without adding gain, put your boost pedal after your drive pedal. But yeah, it's just depends. Looking fit, thanks, man. Oh, look, I could eat better. I could eat a whole lot better. But I reached my goal. I wanted to get fit by 40. I made a decision when I was like coming up to 38 that it was time to do something. And now that I'm 40, I wish I had started committing to it earlier. But you know, it is hard. Back before I was doing YouTube stuff, I was in IT, and IT just, you're sitting down all day, and it's probably the best time to want to make time to go to the gym. And I did do that for a while, but I found that it was getting harder and harder. There's something about sitting down, IT support kind of just, it sort of zapped my will to live. But yeah. Basically, I want to have a live to... Hang on, what have I missed here? Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Hang on. Oh, hang on, let me just scroll back up. I'll get to that in a sec. CC Music says, hi, Shane, just want to say hi. I'm not in range of good cell service. Check back with you later. Thanks, man. I've been watching you for years. Videos are great. You made me buy all the Joyo amp pedals. They're really cool, huh? Those things are the best. You know, I made mention of this before. I took the Kemper out and played it live, and it was a logistical nightmare not being able to really see where the dials were and needing to make changes. Plugged into the Joyo American sound, and it was just like, this is so easy. Straight to the PA system. Unreal. With my pedal board, it's a much better option, so yeah. I've been using the Ernie Ball Paradigm strings for a while, but they really wear down my frets. Been trying to find another string that's not so hard on my frets as a replacement. I mean, what are they made out of that's any different? Are you sure it's just not your the force you're putting on the frets? I don't know if strings make that much of a difference. I don't know those very well, or at all. So I'm not too sure whether or not there is something in them that's doing something different. But some frets are a bit like butter. You know, they're just soft and pliable. That's why I hate vintage frets. I won't buy another guitar with traditional vintage frets. I just wear through them too quickly. So yeah, just be cautious. You might need just to put stainless steels in there and you'd be set. Torn between a HX Stomp or a pedal board based on the Joyo Harley Benton American sound with 2 analog gauge stages, reverb pedal through the Boss Katana 50 for here in Austria. Cool. Basically, I want to have a live rig to use direct to the PA system. I would use your own pedal board and just buy one of those American sound pedals. $50, or well, depending on where you live, they're like $30 in the US or something like that. A Moon also make a clone of the Joyo, which is a clone of the Tech 21. So the reason I say that is if you run a reverb pedal after that and go direct to the PA system, you're going to have everything at your disposal on the floor. It's the same conversation I had before about something else. You know, as soon as you get a digital item that has menus, if you're not happy with it and you want to change it on the fly, it's a nightmare. All the different PA systems you'll plug into, or you know, soundboards and all that, they're all going to sound different. And there won't be one setting that works for all of them. If anyone tells you that, they're dreaming, unless they're just playing through their studio monitors at home. So after taking, like the Kemper sounds like $1 million in here, right? I've got it set up. It sounds unreal. If I took that and plugged it into a PA system at one of the places I play at where the PA system's garbage, it's going to sound terrible. And then I'm going to be at the mercy of wanting to fiddle with all the controls. And then I'm stuck with the same sort of thing of needing to modify things and trying to see, you know, how the Kemper's set and boost the treble, bring down the bass. I have to get on the floor and look at it like that. But if I can just see my pedal board on the floor, I have no hesitations recommending just get the Joyo American sound. And the reason that one's good, or the Boogie one, right? You can get a really good clean tone out of that and then use your pedals. They're all kind of good. You know, they've all got their own sound. The AC one's great as well, the Vox style one. You know, I've had them all. They're really cool. So I just like the Fender one because I like the Fender amps the most. I'm almost tempted to revisit those because it's been years since I've played through them, and I might see what I can find online. All right, so we've got about 10 minutes. Let me see if there's any more questions here. All right, Mark keeps asking the same questions, even though I answered them. I tell you what, guys, Mark, you don't need to keep spamming the same questions over and over. All right. Stainless steel is the way to go. Brightens the sound up too. Absolutely. I don't know about the whole brightness. I think they sound bright when you first get them because they're clean. You know, if you clean your old frets, they might have that kind of spanky sound. But I've never really noticed like a massive tonal change either. I think initially I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, acoustically they sound nice and bright, but plugged in, I don't know how much of a difference it actually made to the tone. But I didn't measure that either, so you might be right. I just think they're great. You know, if you love a guitar, and a lot of people will get the frets worn out and they'll sell it, but you get stainless steel frets put in, you'll have the guitar forever. 29 euros in Austria. Yeah, I you know what? Buy it and see if you like the result. Because if you don't, it's not like you've blown hundreds of euros on a pedal that you might not like. I would start that way. I think there's this lure or misconception that digital makes everything better and that it's easier when it absolutely isn't. Like if you're going to, if someone said to me, you can either buy the Tech 21 Blonde, which is the original Joyo American sound, or you can buy this pedal with IR impulse response capabilities and all that kind of stuff, I'm taking the Tech 21. You know, all day I take that. It's just, it sounds very analog and it sounds great. Would have no hesitations recommending that. What guitars did I decide not to sell? So I mentioned before that I'm on the fence with two of them. Well, one more so than anything else. So I've sold lots already, which has been unreal. I still got a few that I want to get rid of, but the Les Paul, the Tokai Love Rock, I'm probably going to keep that. I want to put a high pass filter in it, and I also want to change the switch. The switch on it's not great. But after hearing it again and not playing it for a while, as soon as I picked it up, I hadn't played for a while. I was like, all right, I'll play it after playing the Gibson with the P90s. I went, oh, like I smiled as soon as I played it. I was like, this is easily as good. So, yeah, I have a feeling that'll probably stay. In terms of the 335, I mentioned earlier that I was thinking about maybe reapproaching that one more time to see if I could get a sound I was happy with out of one of my amps. And if not, I'm going to get rid of it. But, yeah, they're the only two that I've sort of been on the fence with. So I've probably decided to keep the Love Rock. Even though it's heavy, it sounds great. So, yeah. And To be honest, the other thing with it is they don't hold their value very well, right? I did buy them new and they cost me, well, I didn't buy the 335 new, but I bought the Les Paul style one new. And it cost me a fair bit, and I've had nothing but lowball offers, and they don't owe me anything, right? So for me to sell them for less than half is not something that I really want to do. So I'm thinking I'll just keep it. The ones I still want to sell, I've got that Dan Electro Sparkle 2 pickup guitar, which is actually my favorite out of the ones that I've had recently come in. I'll probably still sell the other one that's on the list is the Dan Electro Strat. That's another one that I kind of think maybe I should keep that until I find a Strat I love. But yeah, I don't know. I've gotten rid of most of the ones I wanted to get rid of, and it's freed up a lot of space. And they've gone to guys that are, that were really happy with them, and they'll use them. So that's the main thing. Yeah, California Sound. Todd, thanks, man. Yeah, that's the one. California Sound is a great pedal. That's based on the Boogies. The Boogies are an interesting sort of amp. You get, I like to call it the clinical clean tone. It's different to the Fender tone, which is kind of warm and round. There are some exceptions to that now. So on the last Guitar Search Saturday, I played the what was it called? The California Tweed amp from Boogie. That has got to be the best sounding amp I've ever played. The more I think about it, in its own way, right? Like it doesn't have the sound of the Marshall DSL or whatever, but it has like this refined Fender tone. It's got all the right frequencies. It's got a power attenuator on the front, so you can switch it down from like whatever it goes to, 30 watts or 40 down to 10 or 5. It's got a lot of good stuff, and it felt so good to play. But usually Boogies, their clean channels aren't that nice. They're like really overly clean. Like they don't have as much bottom end or warmth to them that like any Fender or Marshall amp has. So I don't usually like the clean tone, but that amp, man, was unreal. Alvin says, my Boss SD1 sounds clearer than my Joyo Vintage Overdrive. Do I just prefer the SD1 or is it better? So they are different pedals, and every kind of pedal is going to be different. And it all comes down to personal choice and what works best with your guitar and rig. You look at something like the Boss, I think it was called the OD3, a very bright sounding pedal that gives you all the full frequency of the top end. Excuse me, the Joyo Vintage, was it the Joyo that you said? Sorry, I forgot. Any vintage overdrive like a Tube Screamer or a Maxon won't give you the top end. It actually, the EQ curve goes like this, right? So you lose a bit of bottom end and you lose a little bit of top end, and it's boosted in the center, in the sort of back towards the bass side. So you get a little bit of a mid bump. That's the vintage tone. It's actually rolling out top end. So you prefer a cleaner tone or a clearer tone, and that's fine. But in the mix, and this is the difference when you're playing live, that bump in the mids and that rolled out sort of high end sounds a lot more pleasing to the audience, and also in context to what you're doing musically, it'll give you a push that you need to sort of be heard. So they both got their pros and cons, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with liking one more than the other. So don't second guess that. Just modded my first pedal, a Jimi Hendrix Octavio. Cool. Yeah, I don't know if I've played one of those or not. Gibson says, I agree with you, Shane, about using a real guitar amp and individual effects pedals menus suck. Yeah, especially live playing. That's the thing. If you're just playing at home, you can get around the menus. It's no big deal, right? You'll make it work for your recording or whatever it is you're doing. But yeah, I just can't do it. Jamal says, what do I look for in a Strat? So firstly, I don't want it to be really heavy, right? That's the first thing. I want it to look really cool, but I also, you know, my favorite Strat color has got to be Arctic white or that sort of off-white kind of color. I really like, I don't know what the other white colors is. Arctic white, and there's the other one. Both of those look really cool. I'm not really too partial for maple or rosewood fingerboards. I don't really care too much for that either, but I think my ideal one, the one that I love the most, is the original Series 50 Strat. It's not maybe the perfect guitar, but it's as close as I've played. It really is a great Strat. I think my goal is to get one of those at some point or something similar to that, and just have it as a long-term Strat and never feel the urge to go get another one. Especially as a lefty, there's not a whole lot of really great options out there. And I don't want to custom shop one because I can't really justify that. It just seems like a waste of money. What you get in a custom shop guitar versus the original series, there's not a lot in it. You know, unless you want to get the relic thing. But yeah, that would pretty much be my favorite type of Strat. So I would have a big neck or relatively large neck. I think that's a U-shaped one on the Strat as well. And yeah, I wouldn't want it to have vintage frets, like full-blown vintage frets. And I think they've put thin, tall ones on there from memory. So yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, Fillmore 50. Maybe I'm getting the names confused. So yeah, that original Series 50 Strat, I've struggled with that twice. You know, I saw the first one in San Fran a few years back, and I was like, man, this thing is unreal. But I want to keep the window open on a Strat because I'm going away in a couple of months for a little while, and I want to make sure I don't just rush to decide on something. I'd like to find one that I love when I travel, but we'll see how we go. Never play a guitar you want to sell. Yeah, that might be part of it as well. You know, I don't regret getting rid of any of them so far. I haven't missed the Strat, and I haven't missed any of the Harley Bentons, and they weren't getting used really anyway. So, yeah. What do I think about the Jazzmaster Squier Classic Vibe 60? I haven't played it, to be honest. I like the classic vibes, and if you can get them for a decent deal, it's probably worth doing. It's just the only problem with them, at least in Australia now, is they're getting up there in price. They're basically almost the same price as like the made in Mexico guitars, the Fender ones. So then you've really got to start working out whether or not they're worth the difference. So yeah, it just depends on where you live and how much you can get them for. And always check out the used market too. All right, guys, I've got a few minutes left. I'll take a couple more questions here. Try the Fender mod shop. You can order a Strat exactly how you like. Yeah, you might be right about that. That's probably going to cost a whole lot of money here, though. I wouldn't be surprised. When am I traveling? So I'm going between May and June, all being well. Well, it's already booked, but we'll get to that on another video. Yeah, I don't want to give away the whole travel thing just yet. I want to, I'll let you guys know coming up. I have a JHS pedal, but the controversy surrounding him doesn't make me feel comfortable about owning it. Wow. Okay, so I don't know what happened with that. I don't keep up with any of the gear news or anything like that. I'm not overly. Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of guitar videos. I just don't. Mostly because I'm always making them, right? So I detach and watch other stuff. So I don't know anything about whatever that happened, or whatever happened with that. But yeah, I don't know. Look, there's been some pretty strange guys out there making pedals. You know, Vertex used to just copy certain circuits off like BBE pedals and rebrand them as his own and charge like 5 times more for something that was not even his idea. So you know, there's yeah, I don't know what happened with the JHS thing. So yeah, that sucks. Jamal says, hit the like button. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you have enjoyed the live stream or if I've answered your question, please give it a thumbs up. I do appreciate that. How many people are watching, by the way? I didn't even think to check. See if we can see how many. We got 123 people here. So how many thumbs up have we got? Probably 30. Oh no, we got 60. It's all right. Let's see if we can get it to. Let's go for 70. If we can get to 70 thumbs up, that'll be epic. Ah, okay. I just saw a held message there from audio. All right, so if that's what happened, then that's not cool. So yeah, fair enough. All right, let's take two more questions here. Ed says, I'm ordering the Epiphone Les Paul Special with the P90s. That's awesome. $149. Oh, man, that's awesome. You know what? If there was a lefty in one of those, I'd love to try one. You know, I really would. So, yeah, for that kind of price, that's ridiculously good. So, yeah, I would say it's probably going to be fine. Epiphone make good stuff. Can't believe they're that price new. Is that right? They're probably $700-800 here. I wouldn't be surprised. Have I tried any of the Chinese clones? Yeah, I have. I've tried them lots of them. But I really feel like the best clone out there is from Shelly. They're a US company. They sell them for $99, and they're unreal, handmade, all that kind of thing. And they're built to last. Like he does drone drop tests where he sends them up, you know, in his street. I've actually been around to his house. It's pretty funny. He'll like bring them up in a drone and drop them, plug them in, and they work fine. So, I've tried quite a number of the clones, probably 15 of them. So yeah, there's a cool blues jam in the San Jose, California area. If you're ever in the area, thanks, man. Yeah, I don't think I'll be getting to the West Coast that much on this trip. This trip will be in other areas. But yeah, no, appreciate that. Thanks. Maybe next time. Do I think the Epiphone Les Paul Special with P90s will compare to your Les Paul? I think it'll be similar. Usually what I find with Epiphones or any cheaper guitar over the Gibson is the pickups do sound different to each other. You'll probably find that the Gibson will sound fatter. It's always the way. Like if you take a Gibson Les Paul and an Epiphone Les Paul of any caliber, the main difference is in the sound. You'll hear a difference. They do save their pickups for the Gibson, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of difference. But that said, like a fat P90 doesn't necessarily mean it's going to sound better. I did a shootout between the Harley Benton and the P90 on the Gibson, and depending on what you like, you might like more of a Strat kind of sound, you know. So, yeah, look, I would have to hear it and compare it to really know, because I haven't actually heard one of those guitars yet. But just from years of experience comparing Gibsons and Epiphones and Harley Bentons and all that kind of stuff, I can tell you that there's usually a fatness in the pickup tone that's missing in lesser expensive models. And that's been the case with any Epiphone I've compared to a Gibson and any Harley Benton that I've compared to a Gibson. There's always a difference in the tonality. They just don't sound exactly the same as each other. There's just this... And same with... We've compared Framus pickups to... or Framus guitars, I should say, to Harley Bentons, and PRS pickups to Harley Benton pickups, and all that kind of stuff too. And it's always been the case. The more expensive ones sound fatter while still having that top. So, yeah, it's probably not a big deal. It could just be turn the bass up a little more. It's probably going to be exactly the same. Tone City Bad Horsey, they're great pedals. They're really cool. I'm in Tampa, Florida. Visit Replay Guitar Exchange. I will be. Yeah. They're already booked in. I'll listen to clarity more than EQ. Okay, cool. The thinner P90 sounds, the thinner, not worse, might be better for that classic single coil sound. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was getting at before. Like, I found like the Harley Benton double cut with the single P90 sounded a bit more like a Tele or a, not a Strat. It was fatter than that still, but it was more like a Tele bridge pickup than it was like my Gibson's P90 pickup. That's just how I was hearing it in the room. But neither are bad. Like, it's real spanky sound. So, yeah, I don't think... I really have a hard time believing, like, the Epiphone will be a dud. You know, just from past experience. I think they're great value guitars. There's nothing wrong with them. You know, last time I was in San Francisco, I played over there for probably 2 weeks with a Epiphone Les Paul Special 2, I think it was called. It had 2 humbuckers. It was like a $199 guitar. Thing rocked, man. It was so good. Excuse me. Sorry. Ponyboy is the pedal you're talking about. Yeah, Shelly Ponyboy. Yeah. That's their clone. I got 2 of them. I reckon they're unreal. CC Music says, if you headed anywhere near Florida, I know you know about Jerry's. Yeah, I've been there quite a number of times. Yeah, I'll put a video up about this trip and what's coming up in the second half of the year, because one thing about me, I don't like to do the same things forever. I always like to mix things up. If I'm getting bored or I feel like the audience needs something new as well. So, yeah, I have a really great thing booked. It's actually already booked and planned coming up for the second half of the year. So you're going to see lots of cool things coming up. Yeah, I really feel like, you know, there's only so many pedals you can demo, and they're kind of on their way out. On my channel, you probably noticed I've been doing a lot less. I'll release a pedal video, I'll get 2,000 views in a week. I'll release anything else, it gets 5,000 views in 3 hours, kind of thing. So, or in a day, or in, you know, whatever. It just doesn't make sense to keep doing them. People just don't care, and I get it. I'm over it as well, and that's why I'm going to stop basically doing a lot of things on the channel and focus more on things that I enjoy that are still music related, that hopefully you'll enjoy too. Plus a whole new series of videos, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you. All right, we'll wrap it up in 1 minute. Before you... Tommy shredded with Joe Satriani. Okay, cool. I'll take a look. Have I heard about the new band Mike Ox Long? No. I'm pretty out of the loop with some of that as well. Yeah, I've tried doing, like Xavier just asked about some technique videos. You know, I've tried them in the past. A lot of people say, oh, why don't you put together like a lesson video on a concept? And I do that, and they just don't get any views. You know, it might be good for a small select few people, but I'm not great at explaining stuff either. You know, there's some people that are really good at explaining certain things, and trying to explain a guitar lesson to somebody isn't my strength. I mean, I can show people the idea, but I might not know the technical reasons how to explain it properly. So, yeah, I just sort of feel like lessons isn't really my thing. There's a lot of guys doing a lot of really great lessons on YouTube already. I don't really want to gear myself as a lessons YouTube channel either. It's just not my thing. It's not my passion or anything. Pros or cons with ebony, hang on, ebony wood fretboards. I don't know. I don't think there's really any issues with any of them. Power Ferro, it doesn't really matter. I haven't really seen any issues with anything that I've played. So I don't think I've ever owned an ebony wood fretboard before, but yeah, I can't really foresee there being any issues with that. Hey, thanks, man. This is from Krager. Do I ever publish your own music on YouTube or live music? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, like, if you go to youtube.com/intheblues, you'll hear a live jam we put together. You know, there's a few of those on there. I've posted plenty of videos on my channel over the years, from live shows as well. Not just not in conjunction with a piece of gear, but just live clips. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff like that. Back in the day, I also uploaded a lot of my music to the channel. I may have deleted some of that over the years, but you can jump on Spotify, and I'll type in type in the name here. If you want to hear one of my albums, you can. It's sort of like an Americana kind of album, heavily influenced by J.J. Cale, a bit of Knopfler, a bit of all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you can check that out. Thanks for the super chat, mate. I appreciate it. Hey, Matty K, thanks, man. I always catch these things right at the end. Cheers, Shane. Rock on, mate. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Thanks, Matty. Far out. Yeah. Oh, thanks, guys. Love when you make a video of your live performances. They rock. Thanks, mate. Those big videos that we put together, like the live jams, I want to do more of those coming up as well. But the computer that I used to edit, which isn't this one, it's my Mac, it really struggles. It's getting old, so I probably won't be doing another one of those until I upgrade that computer. And I want to do that hopefully at the end of the year or close to the end of the year, because I needed something way more powerful than what I got to really work with, 5 cameras at 4K video and massive files. So yeah, or I can just take in a couple of cameras and do it that way. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I might wrap this up. I'll just see if we've got one last question here. Do I have Italian origins? Yeah, my last name is Italian. Born here though, and I'm half Italian. So, am I still using Zex coil pickups in the Strat? No, the Strat got sold probably 2 years ago. Maybe way longer than that, actually. Maybe 3 years ago. That was the Strat I was never happy with, so that's what I ended up selling a while back. Those pickups are still really good. If you're looking for Strat pickups that are noiseless, I still recommend them, but I don't use them. I don't have a Strat anymore. Jeff, thanks, man. Says it's like a weird pear dude giving me a coffee. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Hey, John, welcome, mate. He's missed it. So we're going to wrap this up. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'll have an announcement video coming up about what's going on for the second part of this year. It's not one of those YouTuber event things or anything like that. It's something that I wanted to do and something that I hope will make the last half of the year a little bit more interesting than doing the same thing all of the time. Trying to branch out and try a new series of stuff as well. So, guys, thank you so much. Last question here. Do I still have the Maton? I don't have it anymore, no. But, all right, guys, rock on. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon. I'll leave this stream up. And thanks, everybody, for the super chats. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Matty K. And thank you, Krager. Appreciate that. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you enjoyed the live stream, please give it a thumbs up. And I will catch up with you soon. And try and time code this a little later on if I can. But I've got to do some stuff right now, so I've got to get out of here. But yeah, guys, thanks again. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Thanks for the mods and for all the support. And we'll catch you soon. See you later.